When a great empire ruled, shackles on commerce like passports, import permits, customs, boycotts, and political interference were lifted. The Roman Empire extended from Britain to Syria and Egypt, which was 2.2 million square miles. A Roman official who transferred from Britain to Syria might spend 6 months on the journey, but yet throughout the whole distance, he would be traveling in the same country, using the same currency, speaking in the same language, observing the same laws and administrative systems. Today, some 40 independent countries separate Britain from Syria, each with its own governments, its own laws, politics, custom fees, passports, and currencies, making commercial cooperation almost impossible. Trade was vital to ancient Rome. The empire cost a vast sum of money to run, and trade brought in much of that money. The population of the city required all manner of things brought back via trade. The empire was crisscrossed with trade routes. There were sea routes that covered the Mediterranean and Black Seas, and numerous land routes using the roads built by the Romans. Trade and moving the Roman army around were the two principal reasons for building roads. The most important port was Ostia, as it was the nearest major port to Rome itself. Ostia was situated at the mouth of the river Tiber and was only 15 miles from Rome. Many ships traveled between Ostia and the major North African city of Carthage, a journey that took between 3 and 5 days. Ships also arrived from Spain and France at Ostia. All their goods could be quickly moved to Rome itself, as they were taken in barges to the city up the river Tiber after slaves had transferred the products from the merchant ships to the barges. Ironically, Ostia was to play a major part in the downfall of Rome. When Alaric the Goth captured Ostia in 409 AD, knowing that this would starve Rome of much needed food. Although many factors contributed to the destruction of the Roman Empire, it did exist nominally as the Byzantine Empire in the East. But it was mainly rotting from within. You had the barbarian invasions, you had decadence, which all contributed. I had a video where I extensively talked about the destruction of Rome. If you're curious about diving into that more, then give that video a view. If you're not, then let's continue. The Romans did what they could to make sea journeys safe. Lighthouses were built, as were safe harbors and docks. The Roman Navy did what it could to make the Mediterranean Sea safe from pirates. If you look historically at empires, this is sort of emblematic of how it worked. The British Empire did the same. They would make sure that merchant ships could travel safely. They did have a short period of time during the War of 1812 when they were attacking United States merchant ships, but throughout their entire history, in most cases, the Royal Navy would protect merchant ships because they knew the supply chain of international trade was important, because without wealth, without raw materials, without food, then an empire is not able to function properly. The Romans made trade as easy as possible. There was only one currency used, and there was no complicating customs dues. Trade was also encouraged by many years of peace within the empire. Trade was vital to the success of the empire. When the empire collapsed, trade throughout the lands that had once flourished under Rome collapsed. The Mediterranean Sea became a dangerous place for merchants, as there were no powers to control activities of pirates. That's when you had the Dark Ages. One of the problems during the Dark Ages is that people were broke because you didn't properly have anyone controlling the sea for merchants to distribute goods. The Romans imported a whole variety of materials: beef, corn, glassware, iron, lead, leather, marble, olive oil, perfumes, purple dye, silk, silver, spices, timber, tin, and wine. The main trading partners were in Spain, France, the Middle East, and North Africa. Britain exported lead, wool products, and tin. In return, it imported from Rome wine, olive oil, and pottery. British traders relied on the Romans to provide security within the empire. When this collapsed, and Europe was seemingly overrun by the barbarians, no one could guarantee traders that their products would get through. Also, without the power of Rome, who would be willing to buy what was produced in Britain and other parts of Europe?